According to a report in the Southern Illinoisan newspaper, 3 days after the World Trade Center disaster on September 11, 2001, David Severin, the owner of a display store in the southern Illinois town of Benton, received an order for 40 small American flags. Due to popular patriotic fervor in wake of the attack, however, flags were nowhere to be obtained, and he was unable to fill the purchase request. Soon after reluctantly turning down the order, Severin got another call, this time from his mother. "It was strange that I had just hung up the phone with somebody that was looking for flags," he said, "and she calls asking if I know anybody looking for flags." She had 40 of them, the precise number requested by Severin's customer. His mother had been going through the personal effects of her late husband when she found the flags. Despite their age of more than 3 decades, they had never been unwrapped and were in pristine condition. Remarkably, their sales ticket, likewise preserved, indicated that the flags had been sent from New York City on September 11th, 1970, 31 years to the day that New York's Twin Towers were destroyed. No less incredibly, the customer who ordered the 40 flags resided at the same house address where Severin's late father lived at the time he received the package of flags he never opened. David's series of remarkably parallel events belongs to a phenomenon known as synchronicity. It is the term parapsychologists use for meaningful coincidence. It happens to everyone, more often than we may realize, but synchronicities are not random accidents without significance. Going through a half-forgotten collection of old photographs, you find the snapshot of a friend you lost contact with years ago. Just then, the telephone rings and the voice on the other end of the line belongs to the same person in the old photo. You are desperate to find a parking place because you have simply got to be on time for a crucial appointment. There is not an open spot as far as the eye can see. Suddenly, a car unexpectedly pulls out in front of you, leaving you a space right in front of the address where you are expected. You have just finished reading a book about hummingbirds, when the first hummingbird you've ever seen in your backyard comes to drink nectar from a nearby flower. These are typical incidents of synchronicity. While most people brush them aside as mere happenstance, some of the greatest minds in history have grappled with such perennial enigmas. Synchronicity was coined in the middle of the 20th century by history's leading psychologist, Carl Gustav Jung. He devoted the last 25 years of his life to the research of meaningful coincidences, those always unexpected, apparently random moments in which we find ourselves at the crossroads of 2 or more seemingly disconnected events that suddenly flash with personal significance. Jung considered causal events, as they are known, key to the background workings of the cosmos and our interrelationship with it. The kind of meaningful coincidences he defined are not just inevitable quirks of our existence. Their always unexpected occurrence can be life-changing, as it was for the great American author Mark Twain. In early June 1858, he and his younger brother Henry were serving together aboard a Mississippi riverboat, the Pennsylvania, steaming between New Orleans and St. Louis, where they overnighted at their sister's home. It was there, late one night, that Twain dreamt he saw Henry's corpse lying in an open metal coffin, a bouquet of white flowers with a single red rose at the center placed on his chest. On waking, Twain dismissed the nightmare as just a bad dream, but nonetheless kept it to himself. Several days later, Twain quarreled with the Pennsylvania's captain, resigned his commission as steersman, and transferred to another steamboat, the A.T. Lacey, while Henry remained with the Pennsylvania for his return voyage north. On June 13th, as the Pennsylvania passed Memphis, Tennessee, her boilers exploded, killing most of the crew and half of the 500 passengers aboard. Blasted into the river, Henry swam back to the sinking vessel, despite having been severely scalded, to save as many survivors as possible before he too eventually succumbed to his injuries and died 1 week later. When his grieving elder brother went to pay last respects, Twain was shocked to see Henry's body laid out in an expensive metal coffin, a gift from the people of Memphis in honor of the heroic youth. All the hundreds of other coffins associated with the Pennsylvania disaster were made of pine. As Twain looked on, an elderly woman entered the funeral parlor to place a bouquet of white flowers with a single red rose at its center on Henry's chest. Like Twain's experience, synchronicities are sometimes epiphanies, our uniquely personal experience of spiritual reality. Growing disenchantment with institutionalized religions, together with popular cynicism fueled by a mechanistic science and dead-end materialism, have stolen any capacity for encouraging such an experience from millions of people around the world. We may read volumes on theology, but unless our senses are moved, we are not really convinced of the existence of some alleged godhood. Not the calculating intellect, but the eternal soul must be touched. Synchronicity is that missing link between man and mystery. What we feel when we are touched by meaningful coincidence is the reflex reaction of our spirit. In other words, synchronicity is the viable mystical experience of our times.